Most people look at successful individuals and think they're just lucky, or they had the right connections, or they were at the right place at the right time. But here's the truth. Success is not based on luck. It's based on law. Just like gravity or the laws of physics, there are laws that govern success. And when you understand those laws and apply them, success becomes predictable. It becomes scientific. Imagine a scientist trying to fly a plane. If he doesn't understand the laws of aerodynamics, he'll crash. But the moment he studies those laws, lift, thrust, drag, and gravity, he can create an aircraft that soars. The same applies to life. If you're not getting the results you want, it's not because you're not lucky. It's because you're not in harmony with the laws of success. One of the most powerful things you can realize is that everything in this universe is governed by order. Nothing is random. Everything happens by law. The law of cause and effect. For example, what you sow, you reap. What you put out, you get back. The law of attraction, what you focus on with emotion and repetition, you attract. These aren't just theories, they are laws that govern our results. Now think about it. If success was based on luck, how could we explain someone who came from nothing, with no money, no special education, no family connections, yet rose to extraordinary wealth, happiness, and impact? These people are not lucky. They've simply learned how to work with the laws, not against them. They learned how to think in a certain way, feel in a certain way, and act in a certain way that is aligned with those invisible forces that shape our lives. You are surrounded by laws right now, the same laws that Einstein, Edison, Jobs, and Bob Proctor studied. These people didn't just hope for success, they studied it like a subject. They became students of life, of vibration, of thought, and of purpose. And when you begin to do the same, everything starts to change. You stop hoping for things to work out, and you start designing your life intentionally. Success has a formula, and that formula begins with understanding yourself, your thoughts, your emotions, your energy. It's not about working harder. Some of the hardest working people in the world are broke and exhausted. But when you apply the right laws with the right mindset, you begin to work smarter, with clarity and power. If success were a mystery, only a few people would ever achieve it. But it's not a mystery. It's a science. And that science can be learned by anyone who's willing to study, apply, and stay consistent. That means you. No matter where you're starting from, no matter your past or current result, if you make the decision to study these laws and discipline your thinking, you can rise far beyond what you thought was possible. This is not motivation, it's truth. And once you know the truth, you can never unknow it. You don't need more luck. You need more alignment with the laws that govern this universe. And when you step into that alignment, success is not just possible, it's inevitable. So, if you want to change your life, stop chasing luck and start learning the laws. Because success is not magic, success is a science, and you can learn it. Everything in the universe is energy. You, me, the air, the chair you're sitting on. It's all vibrating at a specific frequency. Nothing rests. Even what seems still is in constant motion at the molecular level. And just like everything else, your thoughts are energy too. They carry a frequency. That's not just philosophy, that's physics. When you understand this, you stop thinking of your thoughts as random or harmless. You realize they are powerful broadcasts, and every single thought you think is transmitting a frequency out into the universe. And the universe, by law, is responding to that frequency. It's sending back to you people opportunities, circumstances that match the vibration you're on. That's not a wish. That's not a nice idea. That's how the law works. So if you're constantly thinking of fear, lack, stress, or failure, Whether you say it out loud or not, you're vibrating on that frequency. And guess what? That's what you start to attract more of. More delay, more struggle, more confusion. And you might think, why is life so hard? It's not life, it's your vibration. On the other hand, when you start to think from a place of abundance, gratitude, belief, and success, even if your current situation doesn't reflect it yet, you start to shift your frequency. You begin to tune into a different channel. And just like tuning a radio, when you switch the dial, you hear a different sound. Same with life. When you shift your thoughts, you experience a different reality. This is why it's not enough to just set goals or write affirmations once a year. You have to live on the frequency of your desire. That means daily work. That means speaking from your vision, acting from your vision, and thinking from your vision, not from your current results. Your current results are nothing more than a reflection of your past vibration. If you want to change them, you have to raise your frequency now. Most people try to change things on the outside without shifting what's happening on the inside. That's like trying to fix a bad radio signal by adjusting the speaker instead of the tuner. It doesn't work. You have to go to the source, and your source is always your thoughts, your feelings, and your beliefs, because those determine your vibration. Bob Proctor used to say, you don't get what you want, you get what you are. And you are what you consistently think about. So if you want success, you have to become success in thought first. Feel it, see it, act like it's already here. Because in truth, it already exists on a frequency. You just haven't tuned into it yet. When you understand the law of vibration, you stop blaming others and you start taking ownership. You begin to consciously select your thoughts like you'd select your clothes. You become intentional about your mental environment. Because you know now, whatever you're tuned into, that's what's on its way to you. So if your mind is filled with doubt, fear, or lack, pause. Breathe, redirect. You're the operator. You have the power to shift. Begin to think in harmony with what you want. Think from the level of your goal. See yourself already there. Speak it into existence. And keep your emotional energy aligned with that frequency, even when your physical world hasn't caught up yet. Because the truth is, it will. It has to. That's the law. The universe is not responding to what you say you want. It's responding to what frequency you're on. Your job is to stay tuned into the life you want, and the rest will unfold naturally, step by step. Your thoughts are not just inside your head. They're broadcasting every moment. Tune them wisely, and you'll begin to attract a new reality. Because remember, success is a science and you can learn it. There's a reason you don't believe in yourself the way you want to. It's not because you're weak, and it's not because you're not capable. It's because your mind has been conditioned, programmed with repeated thoughts, ideas, and experiences that shaped your belief system. And here's the powerful truth. Anything that's been programmed can be reprogrammed. Belief is not something you're born with. You didn't come into this world doubting yourself. You learned to doubt. You were told what's realistic, what's possible, what's normal. And over time, those ideas became your beliefs. Not because they were true, but because they were repeated enough. Repetition is how the mind learns. Just like a child learns language by hearing the same words over and over. You've learned who you think you are the same way. By hearing, seeing, and feeling the same stories day after day. The problem is, most of those stories weren't designed to help you grow. They were built on fear, limitation, and the opinions of others. But here's the good news. You can create new beliefs the same way, through repetition, not once, not twice, but daily, consistently, until the new belief sinks into your subconscious and becomes part of who you are. That's how you shift. That's how you change your self-image. not with one powerful thought, but with a disciplined, repeated focus on what you want to believe. If you say, "I am confident," but only once a week, your mind won't accept it. But if you say it, visualize it, feel it every single day, even if it feels fake at first, your subconscious begins to accept it as truth. And when your subconscious accepts it, it becomes automatic. You don't have to force it anymore. That's the goal. Think about how you learned your name. No one asked you to memorize it. You heard it 1,000 times. Your environment drilled it in. It became automatic. That's the power of repetition. Now imagine hearing every day, "You are powerful, you are worthy, you are capable of achieving your goals." Not just once in a while, but every day. Think about the version of you that would show up if that became your inner programming. That's what the top 1% understand. They know belief is built, not discovered. They read the same books over and over. They listen to empowering content on repeat. They affirm their vision daily, not because they need motivation, but because they understand the science. They're working with the way the mind actually works. They're using repetition to build belief at the core level. Success doesn't come from wishing or hoping. It comes from conditioning. You condition your mind the same way you train a muscle. You don't lift a weight once and expect growth. You show up every day, you do the reps, you stay focused. And over time, you grow stronger physically, mentally, emotionally. The same goes for your mindset. If you want to believe in yourself more, then give your mind new material to work with. Speak life over yourself. Surround yourself with the right voices. Read what empowers you. Watch what inspires you. And repeat the truth until your doubt has no choice but to surrender. There is no shortcut here. The only way to change a belief is to replace it with a new one, and repeat that new belief until it becomes dominant. That's how you shift your energy. That's how you change your actions. That's how you transform your results. So, don't ask if it's possible. Ask if you're willing to repeat the right thoughts long enough for your mind to believe it. Because once it believes it, you will begin to live it, and that's when the magic happens, because success isn't luck, it's law. And belief isn't random, it's built. And like any science, when you apply the right formula consistently, you get the right result. Most people live their entire lives wondering why things never seem to change for them. They work hard, they try new strategies, they even stay positive for a while, but somehow the results stay the same. Same income, same struggles, same patterns, and the reason for that is something most people don't even realize is controlling them: paradigms. A paradigm is nothing more than a mental program. It's a group of habits, beliefs, and behaviors that live deep in your subconscious mind. It's not what you think consciously once in a while. It's what you believe and operate from automatically, without even realizing it. Paradigms are formed over years of repetition through your environment, your upbringing, the media, school, family. They shape how you think, feel, and act. And because of that, they shape your results. You can have the best intentions. You can set big goals. But if your paradigm is programmed to keep you in limitation, in fear, in doubt, then it doesn't matter how much action you take. Your subconscious will always bring you back to what feels familiar, what feels safe. It's like a thermostat. You might push forward for a bit, raise the temperature, but the moment things start to shift, your paradigm pulls you right back down. That's why people lose momentum. That's why they self-sabotage. But here's the truth. Paradigms can be changed. And when you change your paradigm, you change your life. Think about this. When you learned to drive, at first, you had to think about every little move. Adjusting the mirror, putting your foot on the pedal, shifting gears. It took conscious thought, but after repetition, driving became second nature. That's a paradigm at work. The same thing happens with how you think about money, success, relationships. It's automatic. Now imagine what happens when you reprogram that paradigm, when you start feeding your subconscious with new beliefs, like money flows easily to me, or I am worthy of success, or I am focused and disciplined. At first, it feels strange, it feels fake. That's normal. But over time, with repetition, it starts to settle in. And when that belief becomes part of your paradigm, you begin to act differently without even trying. You start to notice opportunities you ignored before. You begin to say no to distractions more easily. You walk with confidence instead of doubt, not because you forced it, but because your paradigm shifted. That's the power of internal change. And internal change always leads to external results. That's what Bob Proctor taught for decades. If you want to change your life, you have to change your paradigm. You don't fix the outside, you fix the root, the program that's running in the background. That means feeding your mind every day with new ideas, new standards, new beliefs. It means surrounding yourself with people who support your growth. It means being intentional about your environment. And most of all, it means making a decision that you will no longer let the old paradigm run your life. It won't happen overnight, but with daily effort you'll start to notice shifts. You'll respond to challenges differently. You'll see yourself making better choices, feeling stronger, more focused. And eventually, the world around you begins to match the new version of you inside. You were not born with limitation. You were programmed with it. And now you can reprogram yourself for greatness. Your paradigm may have controlled your past, but it doesn't have to control your future. The power is in your hands. Because success is not just about action. It's about alignment. And when your paradigm aligns with your vision, you become unstoppable. Most people are trying to change their lives by changing what they do. They think if they work harder, hustle more, or change their job, their life will finally shift. But they're missing the most important piece, their subconscious mind. Because that's where the real change happens. The subconscious mind is not some mystical idea. It's your internal operating system. Just like a computer runs on software in the background, your life runs on programs stored in your subconscious. And here's what's important to understand. This part of your mind controls 96 to 98% of your behavior. That means almost everything you think, feel, say, and do every single day is not coming from conscious effort. It's coming from the programs running automatically inside you. You can consciously want success. You can say, I want to be wealthy, I want to be confident, I want to be happy. But if your subconscious is still filled with beliefs like I'm not enough, or I never get lucky, or people like me don't succeed, then that's the energy that's actually directing your life. That's the voice behind your actions. That's the filter through which you see the world. The subconscious doesn't respond to logic. It responds to emotion, repetition, and environment. It doesn't care what you say once. It responds to what you repeat over and over with feeling. So, if you've grown up hearing struggle, seeing limitation, and feeling fear, your subconscious has been programmed to expect that. And until that programming changes, your life can't change in any lasting way. But here's the power in all of this. You can reprogram your subconscious mind. And when you do, everything changes because now you're not forcing success. You're aligned with it. You don't have to push all the time. You begin to attract better ideas, make better decisions, and take action from a place of clarity and confidence, not survival. This is why people who study personal development, who listen to powerful speeches daily, who read empowering books over and over, they aren't doing it for entertainment. They're doing it to retrain their subconscious. Every time you repeat a new idea, I am worthy, I create my reality, I am focused and disciplined, you're planting new seeds. And with enough repetition, those seeds take root. Visualization, affirmation, autosuggestion, gratitude, these aren't just feel-good habits. They are tools for influencing the subconscious, because that's where the shift really begins. The moment your subconscious accepts a new belief as normal, it becomes your new baseline. And from that point on, your actions, your emotions, even your perception begins to align with that belief. So if your current results aren't what you want, don't just try to change the behavior. Change the program that's running the behavior. Upgrade the operating system. Feed your mind new instructions. That's how transformation happens. You are not broken. You are programmed, and the program running your life can be rewritten. It takes intention. It takes awareness. It takes discipline, but it can be done. And once it is, you won't just hope things work out. You'll start to see that you are creating them with your thoughts, your focus, your energy, and your belief. Not from force, but from alignment with the inner truth that you are powerful beyond measure. Because success is not about luck. It's not about who you know. It's not even about talent. It's about the mindset that's running in the background, the one you can change if you decide to. There comes a point where thinking, planning, preparing, even visualizing, is not enough. That point is where change actually begins, and it begins with one thing: decision. Most people are waiting for the right time, the perfect opportunity, the ideal mood. But the truth is, life doesn't respond to hesitation. It responds to clarity. Until a firm decision is made, nothing in your life will move. It's not action first. It's not confidence first. It's decision first. Because the moment you decide, you activate a power inside you that wasn't available before. A real decision is not just saying, I want to, or it would be nice if. A real decision cuts off every other option. It's a shift in identity. It's saying, this is who I am now. This is the standard I live by. And when that kind of decision is made, your entire energy changes. You start thinking differently, walking differently, and making choices from a new level of awareness. You've probably had moments in your life where you were stuck for years until one day you said, that's it, I've had enough. And things began to shift. Not because the world changed, but because you changed, because you made a decision. Maybe it was to get healthy. Maybe it was to leave something toxic. Maybe it was to finally chase the dream you'd been putting off. And as soon as you decided, the path began to form. The ideas came. The right people showed up. The courage rose inside you. That's not a coincidence. That's law. The universe responds to certainty, not desperation, not wishful thinking. Certainty, and certainty is born the moment you decide. When you say, I don't care how long it takes. I don't care how uncomfortable it feels. I'm doing this. That's when you claim your power. That's when you shift the frequency you're on, because now you're not hoping. You're commanding your life in alignment with your desire. Bob Proctor said, successful people make decisions quickly and firmly. Unsuccessful people make decisions slowly and change them often. Why? Because decision is a muscle of the mind. The more you hesitate, the weaker it gets. But the more you train it, by choosing boldly, consistently, and deliberately, the stronger and more automatic it becomes. Don't wait for confidence to make the decision. Make the decision, and confidence will grow. Don't wait until the path is clear. Make the decision, and the path will reveal itself. Don't wait until you're ready. You'll never feel fully ready for a big life. But once you decide, you start to become ready. Decision brings order to chaos. It ends mental conflict. It moves energy in your favor. It's the spark that ignites momentum. That's why so many people never create lasting change. They never truly decide. They say they want it, but they haven't burned the bridges behind them. They keep one foot in the past, just in case. But you can't move forward like that. You have to go all in. The greats aren't more gifted, they're just more decisive. They move fast, not recklessly, but boldly. They trust themselves, and if it doesn't go as planned, they learn, adjust, and decide again. That's what creates the momentum that separates the average from the extraordinary. So wherever you are right now, ask yourself, what decision have I been putting off? Maybe it's the decision to believe in yourself fully. Maybe it's to walk away from excuses. Maybe it's to stop overthinking and finally act. Whatever it is, make the decision today, not tomorrow, not when it's comfortable, now, because the longer you delay, the more your old paradigm stays in control. But the moment you decide, the old loses its grip. That's when the new begins. Make a decision so strong that the universe has no choice but to respond.